Thanks everyone for being here. I'm Marty. I know I'm standing in between everyone and their lunch, so I'll try and get through pretty quick here, but hopefully you've got some good learnings and some interesting insights from the presentation today. So a little bit about me and about Cameo. Cameo is a marketplace where you can book personalized video shoutouts from your favorite people. Have people in the room are familiar with Cameo? Yes, no? Cool, okay. So yeah, basically we've got a website where you can go on. We've got about 20,000 celebrities, and you can ask them to record videos for you. So you can send either a video or a text message to them saying, you know, hey, it's my friend's birthday or my friend's graduating, and they will send a personalized shout out video to you usually within like 2 to 4 days. So we are a two-sided marketplace. I am responsible as the director of marketing for the demand side of the marketplace. The supply side is all of our talent. So all of our celebrities that we sign up, we have an entire talent team, and that talent team is responsible for bringing more celebrities on the platform. They can be very vertically focused at times. There are a ton of different categories, whether it's athletes, actors, social media influencers, tons of different categories. On the demand side, that's getting people like you and I to come purchase Cameo videos. So two things in my role that I'm really always looking for. Number one is profitable, scalable ways to acquire customers. I would say the second word is probably more important there. We are always looking for profitable ways to acquire customers, but scalable is the really big thing for us. Right when I started about a year ago, we did an advertisement on a parenting blog. It went really well. We acquired profitable customers, but then when it came time to do more of that, it became really difficult, right? We had to go find either very similar parenting blogs or hope that they could reach more of their audience, but they only had such an audience size. So scalable is a really big important piece of this. The other big one is to always find reasons for customers to come back and purchase more Cameos. So I'm going to speak mostly to this challenge today, but I would say these are the biggest two things that I focus on in my role at Cameo. So for a very long time with our business, we really relied on our built-in network of influencers to get our message out. We kind of had this growth model of get more talent on the platform, those talent then promote to their audience, and our business grows, and that's really the lever that we pulled for a really long time. We have a couple other kind of built-in benefits that I want to highlight here before talking about our challenge. Our product is also very viral in nature. So when you receive a Cameo video, oftentimes people end up sharing them. Actually, 80% of Cameo videos get shared. So if you imagine, receiving a video from your favorite celebrity or favorite star, a lot of people will post that on their Instagram, post it on Twitter, etc., or even just put it in their text chain with some of their friends. So there's a lot of sharing. And then obviously on the talent side, once they come on the platform, they share it with their large network. So really both sides of the platform have a lot of built-in virality. And the final piece is that the celebrity angle is just always really powerful for PR. So with these three items, we actually have top of funnel and awareness and demand generation pretty locked down. And so our challenge becomes a little bit lower in the funnel is how do we get people who are aware of Cameo to now convert and people who have converted to convert again. So like I mentioned, repeat purchase is really our biggest challenge. And what we quickly learned is that some of those same challenges that are benefits to our company with the built-in virality is actually kind of a double-edged sword. So let's say you receive a Cameo video and then you share it with your friends. One of the downsides of that is that now not only have you checked the box that you've received a Cameo, but really like everyone in your group text thread has now like seen Cameo. So that gift at times can be like the box is checked and like everyone has seen that. So we need to figure out ultimately ways for more people to come back and purchase. So this is where paid social comes in, and this is how we use funnel stage targeting. So we really try to understand where people are in the funnel, all the way from never heard of Cameo, never seen Cameo, to made multiple purchases, and try to target people more specifically depending on their different stage and where they are. So when we start to break up our funnel stage targeting strategy, the very first thing to do is to just break our funnel into stages. So we landed on 8 different stages, 0 to 7. And one thing I will say right away is that it's important to keep it simple. One thing that we ended up like starting with probably 20 different stages, we broke it down to 8. But I would definitely recommend thinking about this as you're going through is you only want to sell to the next stage of the funnel. You don't want to jump people from like stage 1 to stage 7. I think this is really relevant in both B2C and B2B. So for example here, if we are Oops, sorry, I'm going back. For example here, if we're targeting stage 0 people, these are people that have never heard of Cameo and never seen an ad. So when we do that, we don't want to serve them use cases, for example. We just want to generate intrigue. So we think about what is the best way that we can generate intrigue and how do we create value props at each individual funnel stage. So for stage 0 people that we target, we focus a lot on reaction videos. So we get a lot of reaction videos submitted to us of people like freaking out, being really excited that their favorite celebrity is talking to them. And I think that's a perfect way to generate intrigue. It's just enough information where people want to know, like, why is that person so excited? What are they freaking out about? But it's not so much product education that they know and they're ready to purchase quite yet. So once you've actually mapped out all these different stages and then created value props for each funnel stage, the next challenge really becomes, let's find the leaky parts of the funnel and focus on those areas. So for us, as I mentioned, it's really stage 5. It's people who have made one purchase and try to figure out ways to get them to come back and make a second and third purchase. So we came up with a hypothesis that if we show past converters new ways to use Cameo, that's how we can get them to come back and purchase again. So in my experience, I get an aha moment from people when I first tell them about Cameo. They kind of have that, oh, what a good idea, this is perfect for this time, etc. But the second time I get that aha moment is not until I share a really unique use case that people hadn't heard of yet. So my personal favorite one that I think would be really relevant for this room would be a salesperson follow-up, right? So you have a meeting with somebody in person or maybe over the phone, and then we've all done this. You send the email, you know, great to meet you, feel like there's so many synergies here, really excited to, you know, talk next steps, whatever it may be. So you could use Cameo to send that same message, but from a celebrity, right? So imagine like Flava Flav sending that exact same message. You know, I'm sure yours is very exciting also, but he could probably make it a little bit more hype. So I oftentimes get a reaction kind of similar to this room just had, only when I show or share another use case that's kind of unique and hadn't been thought of quite yet. So once we did this, we started to develop a large batch of ads highlighting all of our different use cases and then start to get those out in the market. So some examples of those would be, we do a lot of ads around encouragement, congratulations, roasting, apologies. And I always think about these from kind of a marketer's perspective too, is like make sure that they're very different from one another. So for example, an encouragement ad, really the message is like, are you feeling down in the dumps or do you have a friend who needs some words of encouragement? Boom, enter our solution Cameo. For congratulations, like, you know, do you have a friend graduating college or do you have a sibling, you know, getting married, something like that. And we're really just trying to hit people at that moment of need and then boom, present our solution. Same with roasting and apologies. I'm gonna get into a quick example here, but roasting is one of my favorite uses of Cameo. So I'm gonna show a quick ad that we ran. Any fantasy football players in the room? This is a fantasy football focused ad. Cool. So yeah, this is one of my favorite use cases. I've been donating money to my friends for like 20 years now. I'm terrible at fantasy football, but I have the best roasting game by far in our league.
And I hope y'all are ready for fantasy football.
Lupe, you haven't won the 10 guys, 1 cherry title since 2013. Okay, even though you're an avid fantasy football player, you're also an avid fantasy football loser.
How did you guys do this?
So that's an example of a use case ad that we run for fantasy football specifically. And one of the big values of this then is when it comes time to report. And so, back on here. Here we go. So I had to black out a lot of the numbers here, but one of the biggest values here that I want to focus on is just being able to report and actually look at how each of these different ads are doing to each of our different funnel stages. So in that red box is our purchase, so 5, 6, and 7 stage consumers. And you can see we put a lot of our, well, you can't see unfortunately, but I'm telling you, we put a lot of our budget towards use case ads for 5, 6, and 7. And what's really nice about this type of reporting is that you can actually see if your hypotheses are true, right? So we wanted to put a bunch of use case ads out to these audiences and see if it really moved the needle. But the way that we started with this is we took all of our ads, showed it to all of our funnel stages, and wanted to make sure that that was actually accurate, that use cases were performing better for our purchasers. This is a little bit different view of it, we have all of our ad creative into 4 different buckets: general, seasonal, announcements, and use cases. And you can see for the general ads that are much more like product education, intrigue-driven ads, we focus those on the top of the funnel. So obviously 0 is the top and 7 is the bottom of the funnel. Seasonal is really big for us: Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, holiday season, December. So we show those ads to the entire funnel. But over here, use case ads, we end up just showing those to people who have already purchased and are pretty familiar with Cameo. So as far as some results and learning, so first of all, we had a significant increase in repurchase rate, which is really our main operating metric as a business right now. Number 2 is we really learned how our consumers like to use the platform. So now putting all these ads out there and seeing all the different ways people interact and which ones get more interaction, which ones get more engagement has actually taught us a lot about how people want to use the platform. And with that, we can now segment prospects and customers based on use cases that they're interested in. So we know that this group of people is really interested in fantasy football ads. This one is more of like a self-purchaser, and we can actually tailor all of our marketing collateral and marketing content to them based on that information. So that would be ads, landing page, emails, all these things are becoming much more relevant. And one thing I just wanted to note here too is that personalization is really great, but we really just focus on segmentation right now. I know everyone wants to get to one-to-one personalization, but I think a really good place to start is just segmenting the audience, and you don't need to segment you don't need to create 100 different segments, even a couple, 3, 5, it'll continue to build. But I would think segmentation over personalization, definitely when you're getting started. So our current status, we are hitting our LTV to CAC goal, which is my number 1 operating metric, and looking forward to a really big holiday season. This is really our second holiday season. We're a pretty young company, so hopefully this will get a lot of people to use the product for a second and third time. So that's all I got today. Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah. So in our business, we have a big debate between, do you go after users by persona or level of engagement? It seems like you're basically saying you're going back to level of engagement, or are you also doing persona? And like that's where things, at least in my world, get a little bit complex. If you did like persona and level of engagement, or how did you think about that?
Yeah, so we actually, for that purpose, we try to do both, and for that purpose, we only have 2 personas. So we basically kind of duplicate a lot of our efforts across the 2 personas, and our first take at personas, we had almost every different use case, right? So it's all the ones that I talked about today, but we actually ended up breaking it down into just a gift giver and a self-purchaser, and we tailor the messaging to each one of those personas. So we basically do a lot of these similar strategies, but we just focus on 2 different users. And what we're learning right now is who is our more high value persona, and so we focus a lot more of our efforts on that. So I would say we're about 75% of our marketing efforts go to the self-purchaser and 25% go to the gift giver, even though it's the exact opposite of that as far as actual users go. So we kind of just look at like where are we strongest and where do we need to make up more ground and spend our marketing resources where we need to make up ground, not where we're already strong. Does that answer your question?
Sort of. Yeah, it does.
It is a tough challenge. I think breaking up our audience has always been the biggest challenge. You could do it by use case, by persona, by funnel stage. So we started with funnel stage, and now we're overlaying persona onto the funnel stage strategy. But as you get more data and as you do this for longer, then these things kind of start to become a little bit more clear. Like we just found after doing all this funnel stage targeting that actually our best use case was self-purchasers. So then we went back and said, okay, do we need to actually break up personas, gift givers and self-purchasers? But really like the data is what led us to that. So I would say really just pick one and then kind of let the data drive it. But for us, we picked funnel stage first, then we went to personas after that. Yeah.
So traditionally the funnel is a lot less than 8, but can you share like what those things are?
Yeah, definitely. So going through, I'll try and get this correct. So 0 is untouched, people who have never seen an ad from Cameo. And the fact that we really only advertise on digital platforms is kind of what allows for us to break it into 8. We started with 4. So 0 is untouched. 1 is, we call it engaged. So it's people who have seen or engaged with an ad. They've liked it on Facebook or they've clicked an ad, something like that. 2, 3, 4 is all people who have been to the website at different levels of intent. So 2 is viewed one page, 3 is viewed multiple pages, and 4 is actually started checkout, so they've added to cart. 5 is made 1 purchase, 6 is 2 purchases, and 7 is 3 or more. So we found that 5 is like our weakest point in the funnel, and that's why we focus a lot of our efforts there. But that's how we break out the 8 stages of our funnel. Before that, we were doing brand consideration, activation, and just keeping it a little bit more simple. But we've kind of graduated to 8 at this point. Yeah, you had a question?
What digital channel do you have most success with?
I'll go back to the scalable portion. So Facebook and Instagram advertising has been our bread and butter. And I think a big part of it is 2 things. Number 1 is the scale of it. We can turn the dial up when we find things that work. We can just literally turn the dial up on spend. The other piece too is that a lot of our talent is really active on Instagram. And so we can do things on the back end and link Facebook ad manager accounts with our talent, and then serve ads not only from our accounts, but serve ads from their account. And so it comes from like a much more trusted voice, I guess I'll say. So for that purpose, I would say Facebook and Instagram has been our most successful platform across the entire funnel. But as far as lower funnel, I would say paid search, just because it's so much higher intent. People are looking for personalized videos or looking for a specific video from a talent. And so it's kind of cleaning up that low-hanging fruit. Yeah?
How many ads do you serve before you decide to not move on with that account? Would that be?
Yeah, so the question was how many ads do we serve before we decide to move on from a specific lead or from that ad creative?
Well, I guess it's different because it's ads, and I'm thinking about like applying it to email marketing, but like, how many touches do you give a person before?
Yeah. So we usually put a frequency cap of like around 8 on our ad, so you're not going to see like 8 of the exact same ad. We're always testing that. We're always trying different ones, and we actually tweak that depending on where you are in the funnel. We're more comfortable serving you ads if we know you've already purchased multiple times from us. But 8 is kind of a benchmark number I would use for frequency. We usually fluctuate between 8 and 10. All right, it's pizza time. Thanks, everyone.